But that said, I do want to move on. And there is an interesting, speaking of legal sports betting coming in the state of Kentucky, there is an interesting top 25 matchup in the state of Kentucky. Kentucky, Georgia is in Athens. But how about this? Notre Dame at Louisville. Louisville is ranked. Louisville is undefeated. Notre Dame comes into this game as a 5-point favorite in the DraftKings Sportsbook. The over-under is set at 54. And let me say this. Last week, I got a little bit of pushback from you guys and girls. Got some DMs, got some... Taurus, how are you going to do a college football betting show and not talk Notre Dame-Duke, a top 20 matchup that, of course, that's where College Game Day was? Well, I'm not going to make the same mistake because we have a top 25 matchup. This is the 7:30 Eastern ABC game. Marcus Freeman, a few weeks ago, if you saw the video when he found out that this was a night kickoff, he was not happy. But it speaks to Notre Dame is a huge brand. And the other thing about Notre Dame, can't say they haven't played anybody this year. Ohio State, Duke, Louisville, next week, USC. So they will go into their bye having played 4 straight ranked opponents when they played them. And at this point with Notre Dame, I don't think you need me to tell you much about them. We've all seen them. We watched them in week 0. We watched them against Ohio State. We watched them last Saturday. You know about Sam Hartman. You know that Audric Estime is the leading rusher in all of college football right now. Now, admittedly, they've played an extra game because they played in week 0. But I bring it up because what I don't think enough people are talking about on a national scale is the job that Jeff Brohm has done at Louisville. And it's fascinating, right? We spend so much time talking about the coaching carousel. We spent months talking about the Auburn job. Who would get it? Who should get it? Hugh Freeze gets it. What did he do in the portal? What did he do here? What did he do there? Same with Colorado, Coach Prime. But Louisville, and I think it was because the whole thing happened so late, right? Scott Satterfield takes the Cincinnati job late. From there, Jeff Brohm leaves Purdue. I don't think the Jeff Brohm hire got enough, pub and respect and credit that it deserved. Because this was a guy that led Purdue to 8 wins last year, led them to the Big Ten West title, led them to a Big Ten championship game, and he goes back to his home city school at Louisville. And to their credit, they're 5-0, and they look like a Jeff Brohm well-oiled machine. Jack Plummer is leading that offense, 11 touchdowns. I think he's got about 1,500 yards passing through 5 games. They're moving the ball, a top 15 offense nationally in year 1 for Jeff Brohm, and it's only going to get better as he gets more comfortable, as he gets more guys into that system. It is a process. It is a rebuild, and he is way ahead of schedule. Now, in terms of this game itself, I will say that while Louisville is at home, while the crowd will be electric, I've been to that stadium. It is a great stadium for a big game. I will also say there are some things that worry me from the Louisville perspective. One, Jack Plummer, look, great story, came with Jeff Brohm. We get all that, okay? And it's not to say that he's not great and that the Louisville story isn't great. But at the same time, he has been a guy that has been a little bit turnover prone. By the way, at some point, just let the record show, I'm going to call Jack Plummer Jake Plummer, and you're just going to have to deal with it, okay? Because I almost did it twice already. I'm probably going to do it again. But this was a guy that played for Jeff Brohm at Louisville, leaves, now goes to he went out west for a year. Now he's at Purdue, or at Louisville, excuse me. But I bring it up because as good as he's been, he has been turnover prone. Louisville passes the ball a lot. He's got 600 interceptions through 5 games, including 2 last week and a narrow win over North Carolina State. The second thing, and I think this is a big deal, Louisville, again, Jeff Brohm offense. It's about explosive plays. I don't think Louisville quite has the guys that Jeff Brohm wants, the Rondale Moores, the David Bells, the guys that he had at Purdue. And the other concern is that Notre Dame is actually good at stopping big plays. So Louisville is number 2 in the country in explosive play. Well, plays over 30 yards. Explosive plays isn't 30 yards, but plays over 30 yards. And Notre Dame is in the top 10 nationally in fewest yards per completion allowed. So in other words, not many teams are doing a better job of making plays, making open field tackles in the passing game than Notre Dame. And keep in mind, by the way, they slowed down the Ohio State offense 2 weeks ago, slowed down Duke last week. This defense is pretty good. And really that last part, I think, to me is the important part, right? Notre Dame is battle tested. You go 3,000 miles or, 10,000 miles away, whatever it is, to Ireland. But then you come back, you play Ohio State down to literally the final play of the game. Could have won, maybe should have won, depending on how you feel about that game. Last week, you go to Duke, you take care of business. Remember, they went to NC State earlier in the year and crushed NC State. the same NC State team that Louisville barely survived. Now, admittedly, for Louisville, it was a look-ahead game, whatever. But I guess what I'm just trying to say is this. Louisville, it's a great story. There's no doubt they're ahead of schedule. But I just don't know if they're ready for this stage with Notre Dame. And if Notre Dame wins this one, sets up a very interesting game next week against USC, what we would expect to be a top 20 matchup, a top 15 matchup, maybe a top 10 matchup, depending on how this game goes. I do expect Notre Dame to win and to cover. Thank you, everybody, for your support of the Aaron Torres Podcast YouTube channel. And we do have a major announcement as major news has come to the state of Kentucky. That is right, legal sports betting now available in Kentucky. And here is the cool part. The Aaron Torres Pod YouTube channel has now partnered with DraftKings Sportsbook and the DraftKings Sportsbook app. And as a thank you to listeners of this channel, DraftKings Sportsbook has an incredible offer for all first-time customers. First-time customers, here's what you need to know. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Bet $5 on any game. You get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you use the code Torres. That's Torres, Torres. All you got to do, it's very simple. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook online. Bet $5 on any game. Get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you use the code Torres. First-time customers, take advantage of this exclusive offer. It's an incredible deal. Thank you to DraftKings. Could not be more fired up to be working with the DraftKings Sportsbook.